Anthony Ferraro and Mancina, two blind guys, collide to bring you Four Bad Eyes Podcast.
All right. Four Bad Eyes. What's going on?
Four Bad Eyes.
Daniel Mancina here. Hi, guys.
Anthony Ferraro. This is Two Rad Guys. You're listening to Four Bad Eyes.
What is good in the hood?
Welcome back, dude.
Welcome back, dude. I had a great day today. How about you?
I had a fantastic but cold day today. No skating
day. It started snowing in Jersey today.
Did you get some flurries out
there?
Got
some flizzies.
Was it dog hyped or was it nothing? Not enough.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't sticking or anything.
Yeah.
I was really hyped today because I started doing judo again pretty seriously maybe 2-3 months ago. And
were you crushing people today, bro?
Dude, I was crushing it, but so my Olympic coach came for the first time today, to see how everything's going.
Oh, okay.
And we finally linked up and stuff. And I was real nervous because I was injured and I didn't do judo for a year. And I'm I just hope I'm on the right path. I hope I'm doing the right stuff. And he's so stoked, dude, after practice. The first thing he said to me when we walk in the car, he's like, "You look like you haven't skipped a beat." And I was like, oh, I needed that so much. It just boosted my confidence through the roof. I just felt so good.
Where is he based out of?
He's based out of he's based out of, what is it, Western Jersey, right by Philly. And,
he's in Jersey. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's dude, this guy's an OG. He's not even kidding. He's 73 years old. And you would think he was 50 by the shape he's in. And he's just this big guy, real tall, and he's been doing judo his whole life. And he's just he's real chill. He's got a gray haired ponytail, he's real funny. And he's just dude, he's just the man. He teaches me just straight magic, on the mat,
He can still kill it on the mat.
It's insane.
His don't a lot of those dudes have back problems, judo and all that?
He's got I don't know. I'm sure things ache and stuff on him, but he's just he's really with it. He's in great shape and he still goes on the mat drilling and stuff, and I just can't believe it. He's
73?
Dude, 70. He might even be 74 now. And shout out to Mark Vink. He's the best guy in the world, man. He
Marky V.
He found me through the documentary, called me up personally, asked me to start training judo for the Paralympics.
Really?
He invested so much time in me, man.
Documentary, if you haven't seen it, go on
Shot in the Dark. Go on Apple TV, Google Plus, Amazon.
Buy it. Support your boy, Anthony.
What's your boy?
Yeah, it's sick.
We're gonna have the sequel coming soon.
Oh, the sequel for the Olympic chase, huh?
Dude, we're gonna have to do a little Olympic chase sequel.
Yeah, something. You filming for that?
No, just collect content around it, see what happens.
Yeah, something to think about, huh?
If someone reaches out one of these days.
Yes, dude. So we recorded about 10 episodes, and the audio quality
six.
Really,
I think six episodes. But to be fair, Dan told me to wear headphones, and I didn't wear headphones. He was wearing headphones, and then finally, the other day after we did an episode, I was like, you know what? I should finally I should listen to see what these at least sound like, because we're still waiting. We're still waiting on I just got a nice microphone and stuff that's about to start going, and your headphones did a lot when I listened back, and when I'm there, I'm leaning into my computer microphone, distorting it so much, blown out the whole time, and it's just, and we get deep in a lot of stuff, and it sucks because there's a lot of good stuff, but
maybe we'll release those through Patreon or
we'll
bonus
release
episodes.
Do something bonus, and we'll definitely retell some of those stories through here. But it's all a learning thing, man. It's all part of the game. I mean, it's frustrating.
The quality is going to get better and better as we go on and get
exactly
start getting some money to put towards, we'll just put everything back into the podcast and
Exactly. It's gonna
content
go.
creation.
It's gonna go real nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So,
And,
but we got a good little rhythm going.
No, when I played them back though, when I played the first one back, I was just like, no. And then I listened to like 3 more, and I'm like, no. And I was like, oh man, I blew it. And like, when you're the person that sounds like you screwed up, and like that's kind of feels like it's on you. It's just like it's a real.
No, it's all right.
No, I know, but that feeling, you know what I mean? Initially, it's like I ruined it. It's like no, it's all right. That's all part of it. It's what
the Zoom is
what life's all about. It's like skateboarding, you fall 9 times, you gotta get up 10.
Get back up, dust yourself off, and try again.
That's right.
Try again.
Dust yourself off.
And try again.
Oh man, first don't succeed. Shout out.
R.I.P.
Beyonce.
Oh, is it? Oh, I was thinking like Left Eye or something.
I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I probably am wrong.
It's like a Leo.
Forgive me, everyone.
Just throw that one in the comments.
Yeah, just roast me in those comments. What else?
I want to get into what we talked about yesterday about how you started your social media stuff, because it's like fascinating how quick you grew on TikTok.
It's wild. Yeah, you're right. No, it started with like Instagram. Like this is how it started. When I had the documentary come out, I was going around to all these like film festivals like around the country, and me and Kelly just started dating at this time too, in like beginning of 2018. And then
so you knew you were doing the documentary.
Yeah, so the documentary
Shot in the dark.
It was already released on the film festival circuit. So I'm going to these different film festivals around the country. And at this time I'm already training for the Paralympics, like trying to make it to Tokyo in judo. And so, there's a lot of people that want to follow along with the journey, and they want to see like what I'm up to and how they can support now. And I'm going to all these festivals, and people are like, there's Q&As after, and people are raising their hands like, how can I follow you? Where can I support your journey? I'm like, I got a Facebook, man. And like, it's just like, it was really embarrassing actually when I look back, because it's like so like, all right, this kid has nothing like going like set up for him.
You can email me, or you can hit up my MySpace.
You can email my like Gmail, but
Hotmail.
Yeah, Hotmail, Daniel. But no,
Hotmail.
and
Shout out to Hotmail.
We upgraded him though for Bad Eyes, Daniel.
So you did. So you didn't. Did you have? So you didn't even have an Instagram?
No, I had no Instagram. I had like an Instagram that I made when I was younger called like Twan or something. I don't even remember the logins. I didn't control my cousin used to post like funny stuff of me on it when I was younger, and like just like a joke account, but like just pictures of me and stuff. But
you still had a little social media influence kind of in your life.
Well, this is the thing. When we kind of grew up, like when that stuff started getting kind of big, like especially like internet and like just technology in general, and being blind, like I was so against it at first, because like, dude, I was like, I had like, I had the flip phone with the buttons and stuff, and like that was the shit, dude. And like, I could navigate. I remembered every menu, like, through my just memory. I couldn't read any of them, but I memorized.
Did you have a jitterbug?
No.
You know what jitterbug is?
No, it's the old phone, like the little kid phone, right? Or no?
No, it's made for like elderly or people who are.
Oh
so it
no!
has, like, really big buttons. I looked into it when I first started losing my sight, and it has like, it's not even it doesn't have any like screen reader software. It's just big buttons and like larger text, but you can only have like 50 contacts in it.
Oh my god!
This is really back in it.
I do remember those coming out, and I didn't have one of those. I just had one of these like LG flip phones, and I memorized like every menu setting, dude. Like everything, just 2 clicks down, 1 click, whatever. And I was all stoked, like like whatever. I got it all figured out. And then they start breaking out like touchscreen and all this stuff, dude. And I started getting so flustered and like really upset about it to where I rebelled like against technology for like a long time, dude. Probably like close to 10 years because even in high school, like I learned a lot of technology when I was younger at the school for the blind. So that's thankfully I was able to absorb all that. But like high school and stuff, like I wasn't into trying to learn the new technology and what was going on. So I just stayed off the computer. I stayed off social media. I thought it was all stupid. And like I just tried to, like everything I focused in was wrestling at that time. So I didn't care about any of that.
So what year was this when you were doing these tours and stuff and you just had Facebook?
Oh, this was 2018 when going around with the film, going to these film festivals. And then Kelly's like, we got to do something for you. So like she makes me, my wife now, and she makes me a Instagram. Yes, big shout out. She makes me an Instagram. First I had to come up with like, I wanted to create basically my own brand around me. So like it took me a long time to come up with a name. Like first was trying to come up with like my brand name, and then after so many trials and going through domains and trying to find what was available, I finally come up with asfvision, and it made a lot of sense to me. And like it wasn't blind, and it wasn't like it's more than that, and it's like my initials, but it's good, and it fit, and it worked. So like
Anthony Susan Ferraro.
Anthony's middle name Secret Ferraro. The S is for secret. Then $100. No, I'm just kidding. But
my middle name's
the man. But so then we made the Instagram, like asfvision, made the YouTube, and made a website, like just a landing page to like for people to find my links and stuff. And then I had like maybe like 80 followers to start.
And this is 2018 still?
Yeah, 2018. And then
you were just posting like the music.
Just posting photos and stuff, really, at this point, and not even posting enough, like barely staying on top of it.
Yeah.
And then finally, like fast forward maybe a year. Actually fast forward 2 years. So I'm really focused on like the judo and stuff. That's kind of like head down in that. And then I get a bad concussion like 8 hours before I was supposed to leave for like a super big tournament in Canada. Like I was supposed to go to the airport in 8 hours. Kelly was going to drop me off. And then I end up, the cellar doors, like those metal Bilco doors, fell on my head. Like the thing broke.
What? Where? In the city?
In my basement at my parents' house. I was going to empty the dehumidifier. It's so stupid. And I like go up these stairs, and there's the two metal cellar doors, right? Yeah. And I push the door open, right? I push it open like real fast. And there's these pistons in it that are supposed to slow it down from closing. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I hear a snap. And because I pushed the door so hard, the piston broke. And the door slung shot dead weight back at my head and landed on the top of my head. And literally, like, dude, I was holding the dehumidifier bucket. And I fell to my knee. And I passed out for, like, maybe a second. Like total pass out, but I took a knee, and I didn't drop the bucket. I did not drop the bucket. For the record, did not spill, dude. And all of a sudden, I'm like, it's this huge bang, dude. You hear this huge, like this should have killed someone. Like this, this literally, if my neck was not as strong as it was from doing judo and like wrestling and stuff, I'm not kidding. If this had hit anyone else in my house, dead and like or severely injured, dude, like bad, like, and it was like, even looking back at it, I'm like, can we just get rid of those doors? Like that's.
I'm just picturing you
dude. I dropped to the knee, dude.
Taking the knee. It's so funny.
I know.
Because you still got one leg up, like.
I do like I'm still trying to get up. Like I'm still trying to make it out to empty this bucket, dude. Yeah, dude, and then the loud bang and like Ellie's right there, like in the basement, but wasn't able to see it from the angle she was at. So, so I'm like, I'm so out of it, dude. I just got so concussed, like worst concussion I've ever had in my life. Like this is a heavy metal door, dude. Like really bad, and it slung shot, like it was whipped at me, dude. It was bad, and this was at my parents' house in Jersey.
Wait, how did you get it closed with the bucket in your hand? Were you like kicking with your foot or something?
No, I like used my shoulder and like pushed it open real hard, like kind of so like you could walk up into it. Yeah, I was opening it and it came. It opened all the way. The piston snapped and then it slung shot dead weight back on my head, like with momentum. Like it should have killed someone. I'm still like I'm so thankful that I didn't get hurt worse than I did.
Yeah.
And I got a severe concussion, dude. Like when it happened, I was like, and Kelly was like, what just happened? Like freaking out, like she was so, cause dude, anyone in that situation, like that noise you just heard, and then I was like, yo, I just got a concussion. Like, don't stop yelling, just stop yelling, and like I just knew right away I had one.
So you were under the door in the basement?
Yeah, like in this little, so there's the basement and then the steps. Like there's a door and then these steps, like a regular door you open and then these cement steps up and then the two doors. So Kelly came from in the basement and I'm in the little like crawl space you can almost call it. At the bottom of the stairs, just like, yeah, oh, shit. And like still on my knee. Like just one knee with the bucket, dude. Still with the bucket. I'm so frozen and I'm so shocked. Like trauma.
I just gotta dump this water on.
Severe trauma, like severe. And I'm just like, yo, stop yelling. I have a concussion. Like I was so rocked. And she like slowly, like I could barely walk at that point. And she walked me like over to the chair and I had to sit down. And then I like didn't go to the hospital that night because like my parents didn't understand what happened either, and like Kelly was trying to explain it, but she was so flustered and like she was just trying to like make sure I was okay, that like when I was able to explain what happened, my dad was like, that's really bad. And I was like, yeah. And then I went to the hospital the next day and like we were in the hospital and like I had to get like a
CAT scan?
CAT scan or whatever. And I'm waiting in the waiting room for like go to the emergency room.
Still on one knee.
I'm still holding the bucket. Oh, you guys know where I can empty this? But no, I'm in the room, like the waiting room at the emergency room, like place at the hospital, and there's like, dude, I'm severely concussed. Like any light is giving me the worst headache. Like noises, like even just being in the car, like was hard for me. Yeah. And when like I've never been concussed this bad, and when I was in the waiting room, there's like babies screaming. There's like it was like a nightmare. Like I couldn't make this up. Like it was something out of a like scary movie. And like finally, Kelly's like she sees how much pain I'm in and how much I'm struggling, and like just is so worried about me like as a partner. Yeah. And she's like talking to the front desk, and she's like, "Well, when can we get him in there?" And they're like, "Soon, blah blah blah." And she's like, no, like I need him in there now. And they're like, excuse me, who are you? And at the time she was just my girlfriend. She's like, I'm his wife.
Yeah.
And then they like get on the phone right away. They're like, Anthony's wife is here requesting him to get in immediately. And then they like got me in, and it was just like the next like after they like the CAT scans came out fine and stuff, I just had a severe concussion. But like,
were you vomiting at all?
No, I didn't vomit, but it actually was the first time from getting hit in the head where I felt like I was going to. And like it was hard. I didn't have an appetite for a little. I was definitely had mood swings. Like I was severely like concussed. And I remember the next day or like a couple days later, because like it's such a small town and we have a friend that like works in the hospital. My dad said someone came up to him. I was like, "Oh, congratulations about Anthony!" And he was like, "What?" And he was like, "I heard he's married." And they were like, "What?"
Oh my God!
It was just so funny.
Well, you did take a knee, dude.
Yeah, I was on a knee. Will you take this water?
Yeah.
No, but then so back to the social media. That was a
Yeah.
that was a
So you-
sidetrack. So we were going so like I was super determined. That was woo. Yeah, so that was the worst concussion I've ever gotten in my life. And then I was all so that's no, this still brings me to where I was going. So then I realized, like, you know, because I was so involved, like just focused on fully judo, didn't care about anything else like around that was going on.
Yeah.
And I like I realized, like, dude, judo's like I could lose it tomorrow because I wasn't able to do judo for like 2 months,
Yeah,
you know? So it's like, dude, you gotta like focus on other parts of your life too.
Spreading your eggs on more baskets.
Exactly. And like not just, you know, because you could break a leg and this could be gone out of your life. And so like
Cellar door could fall on you, dude, anytime.
so what?
Cellar door could fall on you anytime, dude. Be out.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that was I don't know what that was, like a divine intervention or something. Like maybe I wasn't
knock some sense into you, dude.
Maybe I wasn't supposed to be in that. Exactly, dude. And it really did. So like I started focusing on trying to, like, you know, connect with people more and, like, you know, focus on like this motivational speaking and the music aspect. So then I did that and like started posting more on social media, like just photos and like, you know, writing just whatever as captions or whatever, you know, posts. Yeah. And I got to
is it just Instagram or is it
yeah,
TikTok?
Just Instagram.
Okay.
I didn't have TikTok. I think I downloaded TikTok in January of 2020. That's when I first downloaded TikTok. So I had like maybe 2,000 Instagram followers, right, at that time. Mm-hmm. And that, like, people in my network, and then like just, you know, slowly trying to like tell people to follow you, grow your page, whatever. And I was like super stoked, you know, I was like, oh, 2K, that's like so many. And then one day, like, so the pandemic hits, and then like another period of my life where judo just disappears, right? So like it's off the calendar, don't know anything that's gonna happen. So like focus on other parts. So start focusing a lot more on music, and then go on like the I realized like guitar was making people happy and smile during like COVID. So I was like, you know, this is one way I can affect people in a good way and like still have an impact. And started doing a lot of live streams on Facebook just from like my like living room of me playing guitar and stuff. And then finally me and Kelly decided to go, like, because we love to travel and like we weren't flying anymore. So we decided to go on like a 10,000-mile cross-country road trip and live stream me in all these remote locations, like playing music and stuff and gathering content, like vlogging along the way. And we had this whole plan. We were going to like vlog everything with the GoPro, like, which we basically did. But then we were like, oh, we're going to post a YouTube video every stop, and like had this whole plan, and like it was just way overcommitted. Like could not do all that.
Okay. I think this is where I first heard, because you also applied for the Holman Prize, right?
Yeah, so the Holman Prize is like, for people that don't know, it's like where it's a grant for the blind people that are working on a project that would require, you know, they offer $25,000 and they would match, you know, a $25,000 project essentially. And you submit it.
Someone who's blind.
So like it could be anything from like traveling the world and vlogging it to building a school in like another country, a blind school,
kayaking over the ocean,
exactly, like some crazy stuff, you know, sailing the sea. And so that's where, you know, first like video kind of spark started. But we, like I said, we overcommitted to like making all this, you know, we're gonna make a YouTube vlog of each stop, like what each place is like and all this stuff. And like we gathered all this footage on the GoPro, but we did not, like, Kelly's driving all these hours every day, and like there's no way we're gonna be able to keep up with that. So we have all this like footage in the bank too from that, like that trip, that's slowly starting to like dig out, and it's been fun. But then when the pandemic, like we get back and she was trying to get me to like do dances on TikTok with my cane because there was all these like trendy dances going on. Like that was like what was, you know, a big part of the app in the beginning, I guess. And
Still
it's
is. Yeah.
it's totally evolved from that though. Like there's so many
Yeah, for sure.
different it's like becoming a YouTube shorts essentially for
it is,
information
yeah.
too. Like you can get in rabbit holes of like finding information and like just all these tutorials and different things. And so I'm just like, hell no, like I'm not doing it. She's like, you should do a dance with your cane, like it would be funny, it would probably go viral, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, no, it's so stupid, you know, like I'm not doing that. I'm not dancing with my cane. And finally, like a couple months go by or so, and I'm like scrolling on the app, just listening to videos, and like she starts showing me other like blind creators on there too that are like doing stuff, not dancing, and like just showing their life and stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, like I have a story to tell, and like I really think if I got it outside of my network, there would be more people interested, and like it could help people what, you know, going on. And like finally I'm just like whatever, you know. And like I made a video one day just like standing in my living room, and I'm like, I'm Anthony, like my name's Anthony, and I'm like, I look pretty normal, right? And then it's a scene change of me walking out with the cane. I'm like, I'm blind. And I was like, scene change like me and my judo gi, and I'm like, but I'm also training for the Paralympics, like my sports judo, blah blah blah, and like show, you know, me with a skateboard, also, you know, all the things I do, like surf, play music, you know, speak. And I also said one love at the end of the video because it was like
the birth of one love. Yep.
yeah, it's just something me and my friends always said, like, you know, love you, bro, like one love, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's Bob Marley reference, everything. And so I made that video with Kelly, and she like mashed it up a little, whatever, like made it look like a little nicer, and just like cut the scenes down and stuff, and posted that. I knew nothing about TikTok, dude. I didn't even know, like, I think I scrolled through the app like 3 times, and I just, like, I let her post it. I didn't know what to do. And she posted it, had like 30 followers, and had like 30 views when I went to bed. And I woke up and like it had like thousands of notifications, like 30,000 views on the video, like hundreds and hundreds of comments, and like,
hold up, hey, move your hair. Your hair's crushing your mic. I hear it.
Hold on.
Put that up in a bun or something. Get the pineapple, dude. The Counting Crows look.
Here, I'll get the bun. Is that good? Be better?
Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah. So you
So-
wake up to like
I wake up to
views.
like 30,000 views, 1,000 followers, and like all these comments of like, dude, yo, you're so awesome. Like, I can't wait to see more. Like, I need to see more. Like, and like, please, like, all these questions about like, yo, how do you do this? Like, what do you like? Blah blah blah. Like, people so interested, and like people inspired, and just like, this is what we need right now. Like, all this overwhelming stuff. And I was like, damn, dude, you know, like, this is pretty cool. And like the fact that it's like, you know, getting such positive feedback, it was even cooler. And
You
I was
got
like,
hyped. You were like,
I was
this is
hyped,
sick.
dude.
Yeah.
It was like a definitely a wave where I was like, whoa, you know, like adrenaline kind of rush. And kept going with it, you know, just kept posting and like telling more of the story, and slowly found a style that started to work and be able to reach people and like get out of the network and constantly keep growing, and like started putting that stuff on Instagram too, and then, you know, just started slowly growing on Instagram out of nowhere, just from being consistent for like a couple years though on
consistency.
Instagram and all the other platforms besides TikTok. And TikTok had just started. This is like, so this is all happening in the beginning of 2020. So this is November actually of 2021 or 2020. This is when like the TikTok boost, like blast happened. And so then it just starts going kind of like crazy, like big accounts like DMing me on Instagram asking to like repost some of my content, like because they love it. And then, you know, basically like people just finding it as such a breath of fresh air during COVID and like all this negative stuff going on. It's like, it's kind of what the world needs, you know, just some more like, you just want to smile and feel good and like learn something maybe, and just have fun and like share the stoke with the next person.
So that was the first video that, excuse me, got like somewhat views, and you reshares was that first the video of you kind of introducing yourself on TikTok.
Yeah, and then I did that on Instagram, like that same video, and I got like the same kind of reaction, like from even the people that were following me that were kind of so silent for so long, because like I was silent and I wasn't doing much.
Yeah.
And it just created this like buzz, and people just wanted to know more because I was essentially being more vulnerable, like with the world, I guess, because I was at the point in my life where I was willing to share more with everyone, like everything I've gone through, and my experiences, and just like some days I'm like, who the hell am I? Like I'm like, what am I to be? That imposter syndrome that a lot of people deal with. But like then you get those messages like from people saying it like totally changed their mindset or helped them out so much, and it's like it's overwhelming.
What
bro.
was so you went up to like a couple thousand on the
So
TikTok?
yeah, then I started doing these videos and like finally started finding a way that was like getting kind of viral and like my own style. And then with Kelly, like she's like at the same time I'm learning, she's learning so much because she's doing all the editing and like filming, so learning like good angles and how to tell things like very quick pace to keep people engaged, especially now where attention spans like are shorter than ever, because you're just flooded with so much all the time. And
what was your next video what was your next boost?
My next video that did really well, actually, I think it was me showing my Braille writer, like my Perkins Braille writer,
Perkins,
but also using that, incorporating that in telling more. Yes, please, we love you, Perkins. What's it called? But no, like that, like incorporating telling story in using the Brailler too. So like, and like, I was finding that the more you offer is where the more like when you're giving more to the people watching, like like your fans and people watching, that's
because they're watching it like, oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
They're getting value from your video, from your content, and it's like then I started to realize the style, like, and then instead of just only doing like how I do stuff, I also bring people on like a journey of like, yo, let's go do this, and like you'll see how I do it type of thing. And it's like fun, and keep people engaged, keep them inspired, keep them motivated, and just like
in
a good mood,
Is that like, so that's when you started the I'm blind,
yeah, it's kind of, I found it like, I think it really rocked when I did a video of Kelly was trying to get me to do this video for a long time because like I make chicken nuggets all the time as a snack, dude. It's one of my favorites. Like it's so easy, dude. I got these organic chicken nuggets. Like you pop.
Don't panic, it's organic.
Yeah, and like you pop them in the freaking oven, like real quick. You cut up some potatoes on the side. Bada bing, bada boom. You got a snack, and like I did a video and she was like, show everyone, like, do I'm blind, this is how I cook, and like do your chicken nuggets. I'm like, yeah, but that's gonna make me look so stupid. Like, I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I'm just making chicken nuggets.
But then she's like, but it's actually you and what you're doing. And I'm like, all right, I guess you're right. So like I did it, but like I did it in a super fun way where I was like, and I thought nothing of this video, dude. I thought I was gonna get like a couple hundred views. And I was just like, I'm blind, so I make chicken nuggets, and I was like, I'm blind, this is how I cook. And then the next scene is me pulling them out of the freezer, and I'm like real stoked. I was like, chicken nuggets, and like that alone like got people so stoked because they're like, yo, he's so hype over cooking chicken nuggets. Like he's just like, I want to hang out with this guy, like type of thing. And I made it real fun. And then I was like, I hit the whole, it was the first time I hit them with the don't panic, they're organic, and like that really, like people were loving that. And then also what else did I do? I cut up a sweet potato and I like seasoned it with like maple syrup and like black pepper and salt and stuff. And when I was cutting up the sweet potato, it's a white sweet potato. And I guess regular sweet potatoes are normally what, like
It's
what
like
is
a
it?
brownish red, yeah.
Okay, red.
Purpley,
Yeah,
reddish,
yeah.
yeah.
So the people are like bugged out, and it's like a Japanese sweet potato, and people are like, "That's not a sweet potato." Like, yo, is someone gonna tell him that's not a sweet potato? Like all this stuff, and like
I get that so much with the don't. You know, is someone gonna tell them?
yeah. And it was just like it was so funny. And then, dude, the video ended up getting like 8 million views in like a week or something. And dude, I kept seeing it go up and up, and I was like, "What is going on right now?" You know, like
What did you jump to on that?
I don't remember. I think I was at like 80.
Did you break 100?
Something. I was close to 100.
Okay.
The growth, sometimes like these growth spurts happen so sporadically, and like, dude, I go from like I was at, for example, like 200K. I was like stuck there for like months. Like it felt like 2 months maybe. And like
I've been right at 200 under. Now I'm on under 200 on Instagram for a year.
See, but Instagram, in my opinion, it's even way harder to grow on
So
followers.
strange.
Like because to get they kind of favor different accounts and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah.
But so like I was like stuck there, and I was still doing all the videos, right? Like I was still making all these videos, but none of them were getting like, and they were really like I thought were just like really good videos, and I still think they are, but they weren't getting served like at all. So they were getting seen by like nobody, and I had 200,000 followers, so it wasn't making sense to me, and like I'm like, oh, maybe people like stop caring about me and all this stuff, and like, you know,
the ups and downs of social
just
media.
give up. Like it's a real head game, dude. And
Yeah, it is.
We didn't give up. Like it was pretty exhausting for both of us because you're putting like some of these videos, you're really being vulnerable and like putting your all into them and stuff, and like some of them they do take a long time to make and stuff, so it's exhausting, but I enjoy it. And now it's getting to like a real nice flow, but it like they weren't getting seen, and it's just getting like overwhelming, you know, like I'm just like, ugh, like why am I even doing this, you know?
Video
like,
a day, yeah.
Yeah, and it just didn't give up. It's like kind of like everything in life, dude, where you're like at that point where it's like, oh my God, dude, like do I give up? Like
this is worth my time.
I found that every time I felt that in life, like when I first started wrestling and started taking it really seriously and going to like club and like going to tournaments every weekend, right at the point where in my first like year where I was just getting beat up every time, like destroyed and like ass kicked and just like it's demoralizing. And right when I decided like, you know, maybe I should quit, but like you don't quit and you keep pushing through that feeling. Yeah. Right around the corner is when like shit starts to happen.
Most people stop
every time, dude, and that's where like the people stop, exactly. But the people that don't stop, that's where things start to happen for them. And we just didn't give up, and then finally started figuring like stuff out and like getting a different style and like more fun and kind of incorporating like some humor and stuff, and just, you know, changing it up and adapting with the time, and finally finding that burst again, and just kind of grew like crazy. Like now we're at like 500,000 or something, like just over. It's insane.
You went from a few hundred to 500,000 in a year.
Yeah, like not even
That's
a
insane.
year. That was just a couple months ago.
That's so gnarly.
Yeah, it's wild. So, and then the YouTube, and then what the big like lesson from all this though is like, A, obviously don't give up, and B is, you know, people are always like, oh, if I can, this video will be viral. You know, all they care about is that video being viral. Or whatever. This will be my big moment. A library of content is so much more valuable than one viral moment. Because if you have one viral moment and people don't have shit to look at, or like, you know,
they're gonna go to your page and they're gonna,
and then it's like, oh, okay, that's it. And if you have this library of content where you've been building this stuff for years, you know, essentially, even just months. Like you're stacking this content, like pictures, videos, all this
Hmm.
different stuff, but also like telling your story and like giving people value, like we were saying about videos even, but your post should do the same. Like you know, give your 2 cents
Give
and
them
like
something. Yeah.
yeah, give them like things you've learned along the way. And it just like it started you know, don't give up and the library of content, because it's like once you have, if you have this library of all this stuff, and you know that gives value to the world and things like that,
Hmm.
the second you have that viral moment, people just Kelly told me this for like for years, like for the years we've been doing this, like, Anthony, just don't get frustrated. A library of content is more valuable than just one viral moment. And
Yeah.
it was it was really like hard to hear sometimes, because you're just like, no, like shut up, I just need a viral moment. And it's like, no, because once you have that viral moment, if you have all this stuff stacked, it's like people just get to pour through all your stuff that you've put all this time
Hmm.
in and that you care about, and they get to see your growth, and they get to feel like they learn so much more about you, which they do in a sense. And it's people just get to take so much from it and learn from it. It's just cool, you know. And
Yeah. That's
it's
how I've always done my Instagram, is like especially my skating. I've always done it as like, this is my progression over the years. You know what I mean?
exactly, yeah, that's what I want to that's kind of how I want to collect my skating now too, is like because I'm so like premature at it, you know, at this point,
Yeah.
and like getting just like kind of serious in the fun of skating, of like learning tricks and stuff. Like I used to just do what I knew and that was it. I would be so ignorant to trying to learn anything else, be out of
Yeah.
my comfort zone. And it's like showing that progression is that's what I want to do now too, is like collect, like, you know,
Yeah,
from
that's
the
cool.
beginning to even just a year later. Like you gotta be tripped out when you watch your like or like even just remember your skating from when you started to now.
Oh
Like from
yeah.
even from when you went blind too, probably.
When I went blind, yeah. Crazy. I like yeah, I've been posting a lot of old stuff right now to do all my reels on Instagram. You know, a lot of that stuff is old right now. It's just crazy.
Is
Like,
that stuff
man,
from when
that's
you
where I was.
first went blind?
Yeah, when I first started skating again. Yeah,
Oh
some of it,
wow.
most of it, right now at least.
Sorry,
Um,
what were you gonna say though?
I think that was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
just seeing old clips. Like, damn, that's where I was at. Yeah, you can actually see it. You know, it's cool to actually see your progression, because you don't when you're in it, you're doing it, you don't really notice
No,
it. It's
not at
so
all.
slow.
You
It's
it's
so slow.
so it's that's the thing too, is where it gets like really frustrating and kind of like, you know, you just want to like quit, is because that progress to you is so slow, and it is slow, but over time when you look back and see where you came from, it's like holy shit, dude.
Yeah, I
Like
go
those
back and I look at like these lines, like I remember when I first started skating, like my dream lines that I wanted to do. You know,
and now they're like
like I
your
just want to
now
do
those are your
this.
warm-up lines.
Yeah, stuff I can do pretty much every day. It's pretty wild.
It's so cool. Dude, that was even how I felt when oops, sorry. That was even how I felt when we were in modern skate park, Detroit, Royal Oaks,
Shout out to
Michigan.
George.
Shout out George
You know,
likewise.
what
When
up,
we were
George?
there, I never thought, dude, in a million years I would ever 50-50 anything in my life. And I'm
You
not
have
kidding.
the last what 3 6 months has been insane growth for you on the board. It's
No, but it's
insane.
it's not even, dude, it's just that it's like you said though, your dream tricks, like you
Yeah,
became like you're doing them every day. Like, dude, I used to dream about grinding on a rail, like about
yeah,
grinding a ledge. Like that stuff was so foreign to me. Like I wouldn't and I never had vision enough to where I could see people doing it and how they were doing it. So like,
hmm
dude, when I met you and you showed me a technique to like you were able to break it down without sight, obviously, and like you're
VRT baby.
the VRT, vision rehabilitation therapist, dude. Um, But no, like you literally were able to break it down in a way that you knew I would understand, and without being able to be visual.
Yeah.
Like you were able to talk me through it, and that changed everything, dude. It literally opened up a whole entire world for me. So it was like
first 50.
It took away all that fear. I don't think I was. I think I had helmet on.
No, you had all the pads. I think.
Did I? Oh, I did.
I think so.
Did.
I don't know. Yeah,
I was padded up in modern, dude, because I was skating that 6-footer too.
You're on that big ramp, yeah.
That thing is scary at times because it's almost vertical at the top. It's weird.
It's not. Yeah, it's 6 feet's a big, taller mini ramp.
Yeah, it's definitely halfway there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, dude. Looking forward to shredding again when you get here. About to go. Anthony's about to come visit me in Michigan.
Oh yeah, just packed
for a few days, and we're about to have the fucking YouTube, Instagram, TikTok takeover. 4 Bad Eyes.
That's right, baby. 4 Bad Eyes is coming strong.
When this comes out, there should be content. Yeah,
content.
It'd be dope. It's giving people something, you know.
It's gonna be a great podcast. We're gonna be talking about everything, dude. It's not limited. It's just all walks of life, everything. We'll have guests. Let us know what you guys want to hear, like what you want to, like you got to let us know questions. You can DM the Instagram or email Dan or Anthony at 4badeyes.com.
Dan at 4badeyes and Anthony at 4badeyes.
And then
.com.
Or just DM us on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. Tweet at us, bro.
Tweet.
And
then asfvision.
Let us know. Handle. And Dan the Mancina.
Dan the Mancina across the board.
Dan the Mancina.
Are we at an hour?
Twisted. Almost. I'm trying to get because I want to know. I want people to send in questions, and I want to know what type of guests they would like to hear on this podcast, because we could definitely get some good guests on here.
Yeah, and we can do it pretty easily with the Zoom too.
We're also going to do a great video. We're going to do a podcast with our wives. So that'll be great. We're going to get Kelly and Heather on here.
4 Bad Eyes, 2 Mad Wives.
2 Mad Wives.
Putting up with all of our crap.
Shout out to them. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Otter and Delta are going to play.
Doggies. But yeah, dude.
Light 8.
Man, that's cool. I love hearing that. Your growth, how quick it was. It's crazy.
It's also just
that's the formula, dude. Now people are doing what you do. Copying your.
It should be like, dude. If you asked me 5 years ago if I would have a following of like fans and like people that cared and like more than a couple hundred, like if you told me I'd be like on YouTube and like like TikTok, all this stuff, I'd be like, nah, man, like that shit's really hard. Like it's really hard, dude. Like there's people already that did it, so like you can't get in that, you know?
Right.
Like, that's what I'm trying. Like anyone can do it if everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has some type of value to give to the world.
Yeah, figure out what you want to give, man.
It's basically figure out. Yes, exactly. You have to figure out what you want to give to the world and what you want to, like what you're trying to get across.
Sure.
And then you start a plan and you go with it, and like consistency and just not giving up is literally the 2 main ingredients. It's like and a good team.
This has been how to grow your following on social media with Anthony Ferraro.
It's also been a don't you give up in those shitty times, in those dark times, because it gets better. Right when you think you're gonna quit is the best time.
Right when you get knocked out from a cellar door, dude.
That's right, dude. It knocks sense into you.
Wake up on the other side.
I'm Anthony Mancina.
I'm Dan Ferraro.
I hope you guys have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are in this wonderful world.
Much love. Keep pushing.
Much love. Keep on pushing. Peace out.
Let's see how long it takes Anthony to find the stop recording button.
Keep pushing. And one love from 4 Bad Eyes.